Wednesday. Hello, happy Monday. Happy Monday, Sense Friends. Happy Monday, Inky. Happy Monday, J-Rock. You guys are awesome. Y'all are awesome. Okay, that's how I do all the Januaries. Just sit there, scratch. I don't know if that was really that. That was kind of like exactly like almost exactly like the last one. Oh, it was 120, huh? No swing. Oh yeah, I see. Oh, here you go, Inky. Here's the Actually, I think the thing is, on this octave change, it starts out at the lowest octave. We're changing it on the fly. Okay, so here we go. There we go. Changing the bass part up. But so it's per pattern as the patterns are going by. I'm doing this on the fly, but it sticks, I think, because it stuck on the last one I did. I think it was 2 days ago. Why does that seem weird? I don't know. Cool. And never save it. Never save it. Never save. I'm just joking. Yeah, you do need to get your circuit plugged back in or not. I don't know. A few of the limitations that I keep on remembering about when I get myself back to playing the circuit is just that session change. I don't want to have to think about a session change when I'm wanting to like I want to perform something live. Maybe I want to be doing something else other than waiting for that time and thinking about that time where I'm gonna have to press it at right that time. I want to do something more expressive. Yeah. But anyway, other than that, I think it's great. So that's what I'm doing for January is just um, one pattern one session per day, and I'm not using more than one session. So because I decided I don't like using more than one session. And hey, you can chain them within the sessions too and work that way. And I like that better. And so that's cool too. So it's still cool, but it's not going to be my main sequencer when the time comes. And the need for a better sequencer has already arisen, but need is subjective that way. So along the lines of what we're talking about today, a lot of things that are coming up, like around NAMM, like at NAMM or around NAMM, or at least sometime in the next year. A new player on the Sequencer Wars game coming up is the APC Live. Just got announced this week, or I mean leaked. It got leaked. Same thing. Doesn't really matter in the end. Um, but so it's basically it's got as many it's got the buttons like it's got as many buttons as a launch pad and a few more basically. So it's basically like the push, only maybe the standalone version, right? As a sequencer, you could think of, well, how many buttons does it have? What I'm looking at and what I thought won the sequencer war is the PolyNSEC, right? So the PolyNSEC has its 8, and then it has by 32 buttons matrix. So, and the APC is going to have half that, and it's going to have it going like this. And I've had a launch pad. I have a launch pad. I know how it works. I used it as a sequencer, even with special control script software that turned it into a push functional controller, um, in terms of sequencing, anyway. And and it was okay, but I don't actually prefer that kind of interface for sequencing. It's yeah, it's not exactly for me. So I'm not necessarily excited about the APC Live. Not sure about it. I was really excited about the MPC Live, because it has the screen to do everything with, and then it's got knobs that could be assignable, and then it's got your pads, right? And it's quite a portable, uh, sleek looking thing. And this, the APC Live is not. Um, but it potentially looks cool, especially if you've got two side by side, and that's what you do. It almost looks like an old style task cam, like a 90s style task cam, um, or something like that, because it's got that like that, and then up like this with the screens across, and then another flat. So anyway, yeah. So we'll see about that. About its non-tilting screen, like they decided to have a not a tilting screen like the MPC X. So which of those would be a better thing as a standalone? Hmm. Okay, so enough of that. Still, the polyend has got my heart. Along those lines, okay, polyend Dreadbox is doing a lot of stuff. They're teaming up with Polyend with doing the Medusa, and they've always just done a lot of really good stuff. I've always liked their Eurorack stuff, their Dreadbox. I mean, their Boomstar. No, that's Studio Electronics. But anyway, yeah, they're the Erebus, the Nyx, the Abyss, are all just amazing, sort of sense. So like the number one thing on my list for this coming year that I'm looking at, that I like, that I think is most wonderful over everything else, is the Dreadbox Hypnosis, which is the upcoming effects box, which is kind of like a pedal, but not for the feet, I believe. And So it's a multi effects pedal sort of thing, multi effects unit, and it looks absolutely perfect, like what anybody would dream to want to have. But I already talked about that once. So the Pittsburgh Modular, I had a question about the Pittsburgh Modular Sequence Designer. Speaking of sequencers, they changed the design, and their Instagram pics that they were putting up are, well, that I've looked at from other places, since I don't do Instagram. Um, it was a white face plate, and that scared me. But then in the comments, he who posted it actually said, yes, it is going to be in black still. And so, okay, good. Um, that's great for me because I dig uniformity. Yeah, yeah, the hypnosis, man. I wish it were here already. So yeah, basically, or I don't wish, but anyway, let's see. What else was I going to say? Okay, the vocoder, the Behringer vocoder, the VC340, um, went into production, and they posted a picture of a bunch of units being made in mass production. So it's real. So yeah, so the vocoder is real. However, here's the deal with that, and this is why I'm making it a topic. Um, okay, cool. I got the Pomodoro method going on here. So uh, is the Waldorf SVC SVC STVC the Waldorf STVC um, is so much more a device than the classic vocoder clone that Behringer is putting out of the old Roland. Um, the the VC340 is amazing, and it's exactly what I would want if I were not to go and see demos of the Waldorf STVC, which I've seen quite a few demos of it now and what it can do, that other vocoders can't, and that this more basic classic vocoder that Behringer is putting out can't do, like say the freeze, the formant freeze button, where you hit the button and whatever your vowel, whatever your sound coming into the vocoder, that's frozen into what you play on the keys. So it's basically a uh, you know an unlimited random formant waveform finder. And then not only is it a string synth, it's got the string synthesizer that's got all its modulations to be all the different things that it can be. Plus, on the side of that, on it's got a synthesizer, just synth voice, and the two mix. So it's just so much more than the Behringer vocoder. But I was thinking, oh, but it's going to be so much more expensive. But then somebody pointed out to me, okay, it doesn't seem like it because Behringer's putting theirs, saying that theirs is going to be like 800 or something, and the STVC, the Waldorf STVC, is only 899. So that would be a $100 difference, and so you really actually are kind of paying for the idea of having that clone in a way, if it's really going to be that expensive. If it's going to be 799, then I'll scream from the top of the mountains, that Waldorf's is the one to get for anybody, and it's hands down, and it's a no-brainer. Um, if the Behringer vocoder could get down to like a $400 or something, then yeah, right? Yeah, I don't blame you. Because I'm still kind of like, kind of back and forth on the idea because it's nice looking. The Behringer one is also very nice looking, and I'm not sure about the key beds. There's something about the key bed of the STVC that looks a little bit like jagged and cold. And it would be in comparison. It's kind of more of like a colder sort of vocoder than the VC340. Yeah. And also, obviously, if you have a DeepMind 6, hey, Studio Geek, how's it going? How did your live stream go? I'm sorry I couldn't be there because I was just preparing and doing other things and preparing for this one. Yeah. Get a used one off Reverb. Yeah, yeah, it's on the Will See list. Both of those would be on the Will See about how they go out. Uh, yeah, yeah. But that's something that I'm thinking about right now. I think that's like a huge topic. If it's not for people, it should be something to watch out for because vocoders are amazing and they're not really dated except for the fact that they did happen to only be made and therefore used in a certain era so far. So far. Um, but yeah, so the Erica Synths just teased their plasma distortion unit for Eurorack. Um, and so that is something that Weasel's is gonna be looking at and wanting to get our little pinkies on because it's amazingly cool visually to have this like blue uh, electric line stripe going. That's an actual, you actually 3D, you see it in there. It's not like a screen. It's not something that's projected on a screen. You actually see it. It's like this tube with a blue electric, you know, and when you get more distorted, it goes and you can see it. Uh, So awesome. And Erica Sense has already done their fusion line of tube stuff, which is already really cool. But it's kind of like it has this warm amber light, like old tube stuff. But this fusion or this the plasma distortion module is going to be really cool because it's just cool looking, and you can see how it sounds or how something sounds through it already too. I believe it was just they do Instagram posts. They don't actually post on YouTube. Well, at least not yet for that stuff. I had to look into it. Hey, Marshall. Hey, Marshall Arnold's here. Simon the Magpie's here. Hayes Anderson is here in the house. Wow, so we got some core we got some core people with Enki and J Rod and Studio Geek 32. All you guys are here. Awesome. Sup, sup, sup. Yeah. All right. Well, I just I'm pomodoroing. So basically, the Pomodoro method is a method of getting yourself to do work by like giving yourself chunks and scheduling yourself chunks of time, and then timing yourself, and then you get a break, do whatever you want, but during a certain amount of time, you got to work, that sort of thing. This is also good for things like trying to jam faster with a workflow, faster and faster. I used it a little bit for that, but this is telling me I only have like 10 minutes left to go before I got to get to work. Right. So we're gonna get on with it. Um, One thing that I just found out, Noir at Blanc V was in my live stream last week, and he just got me wondering, like, oh yeah, why hasn't he been posting videos lately? I haven't seen him for like the last couple months. I haven't seen videos of Noir at Blanc V. So basically, yeah. And then so right after that, I saw a video. He posted a video now, so I'm gonna link. That post in the description. So then you can go to his links and go to it. But he has been working on YouTube library music for everybody to go download for free and use as much as you want. Copyright wonderful, copyright free, copyright wonderful stuff. And I'm gonna go down there and you know, I'm gonna get it just to listen to, basically, if not to do anything with, just because I think it's some of the most beautiful sounds online that I've heard were from his videos and his station. So his channel. I mean, I said it again. Um, so go see that. And also on that, along those lines, someone else who comes here often, Darren T. House, his channel. He doesn't have too many subscribers, but yeah, he does good stuff. And this thing that he just did is I'm going to link him in the description too, but it was related to Orbital. He's got a great love of Orbital, and I wouldn't call it an Orbital remix album, because it's like more than just a remix. It's like he took all sorts of sounds from all the Orbital albums and reimagined just music out of that, and it's really cool stuff. And you get a little snippet of it. The time box glitch, I believe, is what the video is called. That his teaser video on YouTube for the whole album is, and it's really cool. What do I work for? What do I work for? Oh, yeah, I'm a custodian. I work in a school. I'm a custodian at some schools. So yeah, and I like it. It's a pretty good job because I can listen to music while I work, for one, and I could go on and on about that. Yeah. But yeah, so I've pretty much gone through talking about everything that I wanted to talk about. The APC Live just coming out, and how I don't know if that's a big deal or not. We'll see if it's a big deal or not. Um, Whether it should go on the list for the sequencer wars, or whether it's just kind of like same old functionality, but just allows other people to do it in a different way than they already are doing it. Um, but I think the MPC Live I still really like, and the MPC X. We'll see how the APC Live compares to that, the MPCX, because I think that would be the thing. Um, yeah. And as far as the Pittsburgh Modular Sequence Designer goes, yes, it still will be in black, even though when they changed it, it went to like a white or a silver face, and I was like, well, how am I going to fit it into the stuff all the stuff I already have and be uniform? But anyway, so I already talked about that, but so it's still going to be. He actually said it himself when he posted it that it still is going to be available that way. But they have a new synth coming out too for Eurorack, a full synth for Eurorack, um, as on top of Pittsburgh Modular, on top of the Sequence Designer and other things they're doing. They will be revealing probably at NAM a new synth, and they already have revealed it, but without a faceplate. It's got all these knobs on it, and it's got four sliders or four faders, and the faders are for LFOs, two faders each for LFOs. It looks like, and then all the rest of the stuff is knobs, and then it has all the patch points at the bottom, along the bottom. So yeah. Yeah, Hayes is sitting at a desk all day behind a computer. It's boring. Yeah, yeah, it is. I like the movement and moving around. I always liked to be outside and working with my hands and stuff like that. And yeah, this is pretty good too. Yeah, but I don't get bored actually because the thing is, if I had my entire life, if I had 100 years, day in day out, 24/7, just to sit here and just to have my thoughts, um, I would be good to go for life. I don't get bored. I guess, yeah, just that the whole concept is weird for me to like to think that nothing is happening. I just like my brain, it just never lets me go about everything. So, yeah, there's always a million things that I could be doing right now and blah blah blah. And so so rest is something that I really like and I don't do well enough we should really do that. Um anyway, you're currently unemployed. Pigments already has an update. Well, yeah, yeah. So that's what good beta testing. When people come back and tell them stuff and then they fix it, that's always good. Um, yeah, that could very well be your one soft synth. I think already for me, the V collection and the analog lab like really just already do it for me and make me not want to go shop for new soft synths. Um, but pigments even more so because it's got all the LFOs just right there, visual and colorful. Apologies if you're annoying, Lloyd. Lloyd Robenflex, you are not annoying. Uh, why would you think that? Go back to listening to January 2019. I will too. Um, but I also have to go to work soon too, and that's what I'll be doing because I can just queue it all up. I can just queue them all up and then just listen while I work. Um, yeah. But that's the first thing I saw him say. No, yeah, Lloyd's done some January, and he's got some good stuff going on for that already. Yeah, and so does Hayes, and Hayes is doing the DIY thing, and making synths. And his first day, he made an oscillator in front of your eyes and jammed on it, like quicker than I could come up with a jam on the circuit. Still. That was pretty cool. Never seen anybody try to do something like that before, but it's just cool to know that DIY can be that accessible, right? It really it could be, right? But yeah, I went over there and saw what you were doing and that you're setting up and having some issues, but I couldn't even stay because I had to get ready and stuff, but yeah. Soft synths are what drove me away in the 1990s, not going back, says Hayes Anderson. Yeah, um, yeah. I just got a Roland XP60 workstation synth from the 90s, and that I think I blame for keeping me away from synthesizers from the whole idea of it in the first place of being even interested. But but like I really want to get into those sounds. I just wish I had a place to put this huge, huge keyboard with a broken key. But yeah, soldered soldered a DIY oscilloscope together yesterday to help see what signals are coming out. Yeah, I am really looking forward, Hayes Anderson, to you making more of those and possibly giving me one, and that would be great because I can put it in where do I have it? I have the uh where is it? Oh, I guess I put it somewhere, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I have this little recipe box, this little wooden recipe box that would be perfect for putting that in. And I could be drony and stuff. But you know what it needs? It needs a filter and a little reverb, like a low pass filter and reverb, right? Um, yeah, there are virtual analog. I'm really into the virtual analog. I Yeah, after having the System One be my first synth that I chose, um, I you know maybe you could pin me as that's the reason why I don't care about it being analog or not. But yeah, I mean, see, I love the sound of Moog stuff, right? But a lot of people just think from that as like, oh, that means analog is better. But that's the thing is like, no, a lot of full nice bass is better, and things like going out of phase and detuning a little bit is nice too, and stuff like that. And so if you learn synthesis, then it matters less and less the difference between synthesizers, right? But you guys weren't talking about that. But anyway, how's it going? Yeah, you're a rec format. I think it's gonna be the common thing for a while. Um, yeah, I don't think supposed to be smelling a burning smell from your synths. Well, I don't know. Yeah, hey, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning, man. You never know. Maybe you'll end up finding out what better materials there are and being able to get better materials for making that stuff. Or maybe it just comes with the territory. Marshall Arnold says analog is better for some things, digital is better for other things, but all synths are awesome except for the dreaded DX7. Yeah, I spoke ill of it already in terms of just talking about FM synthesis. I was talking about how the Digitone is really great because it's doing what always should have been done, and then you pare down all the parameters that were in the DX7 down to less parameters to work with, and it's still FM synthesis, you know. Um, but yeah, yeah, totally. Uh, yeah, analog better for some things, digital better for other things. Yeah, see, I'm not even there in my understanding actually in that way. I'm not even that far into it to really know. Except for me, the difference is how you work with it. If it's analog, it ends up being a different kind of synth that you're working with, except for if it's VA. See, that's the thing is like I like the analog way of working, right? I like the knob per function, or or dedicated, at least dedicated knobs for everything, and just the way that this is all set up, right? And it's because of how it would have been in analog, um, right? It's designed this way, but it's just the the benefits of digital. Um, and as far as the sound goes, I can't tell, but I think that's probably my failing so far. I mean, I can tell sometimes, obviously, but then there are other times when people do comparisons and I can't tell. So I don't know. Even when Herbie Hancock, I met Herbie Hancock. Yeah, he does the same chanting Buddhist practice as I did at a certain point in time. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Um, he's awesome. Digital means it was generated from a digital process, which itself built from analog blocks. Yeah, it's just yeah, they can fit more stuff in in a way. But then, okay, where I find is the real difference, right, of things, is that I like is making me like CV more than MIDI is this idea of instead of it just being a value, it actually is giving you more or giving you less voltage. And it's always voltage with CV. So it's just always easy, even though it's one lane per what you do, anything. But hey, that's how you can add 5 dimensions, you know, of of modulation, 5 dimensions of sound to one sound, right? Whereas in MIDI, that actually might end up being quite complicated still. It's still complicated to do, but even though it goes over one chord. So that's the difference. Is like that you can patch all the chords yourself. I used to when I got started this a little over a year ago, I was actually preaching on my studio updates, and you could go back and see this about how I wasn't going to go Eurorack because I didn't want chords in the way. I didn't want chords, and I knew that I was just, it was a lack of experience because what you really want to do is what you really functionally want to do. And in the end, if you're serious about doing this, and it's not just an idea, I want to work with CV more than I want to work with MIDI. So I'm going to keep growing, probably growing the Eurorack throughout the years more than looking at synths and getting synths. Oh crap! Okay, I gotta go. But let's see. What have people have been saying? Cool. Hey, hey, Florent Paris, how's it going? Good to see you here. Yeah, I haven't seen you around yet, but welcome to the channel. I do this every Monday, and I'm gonna keep doing it every Monday, even though it's January, and we're gonna post a jam every day, and people have been doing that. It's been wonderful, and I've been really enjoying it. Thanks everybody for coming. Um, yeah, prefer MIDI, CV, non-MIDI, poly major difference. Yeah, yeah, poly. For poly midis the deal. Yeah, totally. That's the deal. Um, yeah, you have a good day too, Marshall. Have a good day, Hayes. Oh yeah, see DB Cisco. Nice to see you in here again as well. Although I have to go, I'm sorry. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week and jam on and enjoy everything. And we'll get closer to NAM and have a lot more to talk about as we go on. And I will see you all on the flip side.